What's up, you beautiful Redditors? Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Welcome to the RNEWS morning show. And let's just jump into it. From r/politics, the Trump campaign is reportedly discussing contingency plans to bypass election results. The Atlantic says that Trump's campaign is discussing contingency plans to bypass election results and appoint loyal electors in battleground states where Republicans hold the legislative majority. Every news channel should be doing wall-to-wall coverage, outraged that this is even being considered. We aren't a democracy if this is allowed to happen. Also, in case you missed the story, Facebook would let Trump run ads on election night, prematurely claiming victory. www.fastcompany.com edit. Article updated, and this is no longer the case, allegedly. The longer Trump succeeds in keeping the vote count in doubt, the more pressure legislators will feel to act before the safe harbor deadline expires, which will play right into him being able to keep the vote count in doubt. Facebook is complicit in this fascist takeover. You don't freaking bypass election results, you tin pot dictator piece of crap. What the frick is the point of having an election? Trump wants to make it some kind of formality done for show, but without any binding meaning. This is the kind of crap we denounce when it happens in other countries. How long before we just start ballot stuffing? What the ever-living frick is going on? The last 41 days of America. Look on the bright side, though. While this may be the worst and most tumultuous time for America in the last decade, it's also probably the best and most peaceful time for America out of the next decade. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/World News. U.S. no longer recognizes Lukashenko as president of Belarus after rigged election. USA November 2020 election has entered the chat. The real show starts in December when the state electors actually vote. I'm thinking there will be faithless electors, and not in the intended direction. Oh boy, are you gonna be depressed looking at the news? The basic idea is to claim close swing state losses by Trump due to voter fraud, and use that as a justification to install loyal electors in battleground states where Republicans hold the legislative majority, to override voters and back Trump in the Electoral College. www.theatlantic.com. Putin will phone Trump, and Trump will then go against the State Department and say the U.S. shouldn't get involved with Belarus. Trump is a Putin bootlicker. This guy looks like a creator player in a dictator game where you can't get the licenses to actual dictators. Side note, I miss gaudy dictator uniforms, the hat, the crapload of medals. Pinochet had a freaking cape. Step it up, boys. It would be funny if Lukashenko then says he doesn't recognize Trump because of rigged election. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/News. Judge orders Eric Trump to testify before election in New York. Attorney General probe of President Trump's company. Lawyers for Eric Trump had previously said that he was willing to be deposed as part of the New York Attorney General's probe of the Trump Organization, but only after the November 3 contest between his father, President Donald Trump, and Democratic nominee Joe Biden, much like how Trump said he would release his tax returns, after the election. Keep in mind he was subpoenaed in May, then agrees to meet in June, ultimately reneged on June, and then in September asks for an extension through November. I particularly enjoy the judge's response: neither petitioner nor this court is bound by timelines of the national election. He meant the 2020 election. No, he meant the 2024 election. Error: 2024 election not found. If Trump stays in office, there won't be an election in 2024. How sure are you that there will be an election now? Just because people are already voting doesn't mean he has to let them count them. I don't even have an emoticon to use for this IDK. You're unfortunately very, very right. Trump says to get rid of the ballots. Twitter.com. Will no one rid us of this meddlesome president? Must testify no later than October 7th, getting the popcorn before it's sold out. Wait, is he the dumb one or the really dumb one? He's the Beavis. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/politics. Biden on Trump's refusal to commit to peaceful transfer of power. What country are we in? We're in a country that is ready to discard almost 250 years of history for the benefit of a megalomaniac narcissist. Yeah, but he lets them be racist and yell really loud. It's all totally worth it for them. Plus, they felt like the Democrats ignored them and looked down on them behind closed doors. Trump just calls them pieces of crap to their face and ruins their lives while lying to their faces. So they love him. Farmer, he's going to launch a trade war to ruin your livelihood. Steel worker, see his trade war. Poor, you already know it's over. Old, say hell to coronavirus. Trump supporters have low self-esteem. He treats them like crap and they love it. Cue up someone responding, I'm a Trump voter and I'm well into the middle class. Yes, and his tax hike fricked you in 2017. Like it did the rest of the middle and upper middle class. Trump has only helped himself, his family and Russian mobsters. That's it. The scary thing is that even if Trump loses, the darkness he stirred up will not go away. We must be very vigilant in the years to come to ensure it never returns. There goes Sleepy Joe not knowing what country we're in. Tilda idiots, probably. 3-1 odds Trump isn't certain either. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/politics, Trump just refused to commit to a peaceful transition of power. He never has. I know that now we're in the last 40 days before the election. Everything is starting to feel a bit more real. But this has been his MO since 2016. He's never committed to accepting election results. Bill Maher's been saying this since the last election. And just now people are starting to realize he was right. So surreal how people just think everything will be alright. I'm freaking laughing at the fact that people actually think non-violent protest will stop a coup. Which is in and of itself an act of violence. Don't worry, Trump can't become president if he doesn't release his taxes. Don't worry, Trump can't become president if he doesn't put his business in a blind trust. Don't worry, Trump can't suppress the Mueller report. Don't worry, Trump can't appoint a new justice in an election year. Lesson, we are here. Don't worry, Trump can't ignore the result of an election. Don't worry, Trump can't exceed term limits. Don't worry, Trump can't be succeeded by his family. Anyone who thinks they can win against Trump by relying on rules isn't paying attention. He didn't accept the results of the election he won. Of course he's not going to accept a loss. And now he has prison on the table after leaving office. New York doesn't frick around with tax evasion, but Trump sure has. Sure they do. If they cracked down on Trump decades ago, he wouldn't be in the position he's in now. Maybe buy a gun. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/news, officer shot at Brook Street and Broadway in Louisville. I'm sure the accused shooter will be suspended with pay and released on his own recognizance after his arrest. We don't know the context here, so let's not rush to judgment. The officer could have smoked weed as a teen, and I bet the shooter was in fear for his life. Did the suspect miss any shots? Maybe they'll charge them with wanton endangerment. I am very concerned about the safety of our officers, Schroeder said. I'm always hearing from cops how incredibly dangerous it is, but as a veteran, when we bitched or complained or got shot at, we always got told, well, you signed the contract, and hey, they signed the contract. OEF here, they sure as crap have a lot easier time getting out if they realize they don't like it too. Cops aren't even in that much danger. Bartenders and taxi drivers are more dangerous jobs. Tons of more dangerous jobs. Garbage collectors are 3 times more likely to die from an accident on duty than cops are to die, but you don't hear them whine about it on the news day in day out. Welp, I'm going to have to tune out on this story for a good 24 hours. There's always a shit show of disinformation before the facts come together. The George Floyd verdict is going to be a million times worse. If you think that is an open and shut case, then think again. And that's where we're going to end today's show. But if you like what you saw, leave a like. And if you want to see more of the RNEWS show, hit that subscribe button. As always, this has been the RNEWS show, and I'll see you tomorrow.